Ladies and gentlemen, we're back at the Rum Regret podcast. I am Andy Drake.
Johanna Myers.
Nate Tussey, and we drink and we know things.
We just watched the Krypton pilot.
Yeah.
On SyFy, and as you two both know, Superman's my guy.
As the Batman wearing person.
Right. So obviously I've been excited to watch this.
Yeah.
Granted, probably not going to see Superman in this at all. No. But we saw his cape in the first episode. But first,
spoilers.
As we should always say, and we should
a spoilery podcast.
We should get used to saying at the beginning,
yeah.
There will be spoilers. There will be spoilers here. So first impressions right off the bat, Joe, what do you think?
I went into this cold. I had no idea where they were going to start with this, and I'm really not big on my Superman history.
Okay.
So the first few minutes, I'm like, is that Superman? Is that Superman? Which one's Superman? What the hell? And then, obviously, you figure out, okay, this is set way before.
Right, yeah.
Which I think is really neat.
Okay.
You get to see, a lot of history, and it's a new kind of spin on the whole thing. And that being said, I really wasn't sucked into it.
Okay.
I didn't really do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
The ending little clip that they did, with all the actors and talking about where they're gonna go with it, it kind of made me okay, maybe I'll watch another episode.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay,
sorry.
That's okay. Nate.
Yeah, so I didn't come into it cold. I knew kind of what it was gonna be about in general. I was very excited for it actually, just because some of the special features guys were talking about. It's really an untapped area. The DC universe is gigantic, but it's really something that we haven't explored as deeply as we could. I really like the idea of the caste system and the different families and houses and that kind of thing. It was interesting to see the slums of Krypton for the first time on cinema, or on TV. So that was interesting. But I echo Joe's sentiment where I wasn't really drawn into it. There were some cool little twists. I'm really interested in the Praetorians or whatever they're called, the Sagittariusans or whatever their name is. The military kind of police caste. So the main training lady is one of the Amazons in Wonder Woman. So
right.
Or at least that's where I thought I recognized her from. So that was really cool. You could tell they're setting up the whole kind of Shakespeare analog or Romeo and Juliet analog,
right.
The forbidden love and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. I'm really excited for Brainiac, because Brainiac is one of those big bads that has never really been done right in any medium, with the exception of maybe the whole DC Superhero Online game, where Brainiac was the big bad in that situation, and that's how your character is created, because Brainiac stole all the powers from all the heroes on Earth, and then whatever he used to steal them malfunctioned or whatever, and then you have random superheroes everywhere.
Also well done in Injustice 2, by the way.
Oh, really?
He's the main bad guy.
Is
in
he?
Injustice
Okay,
2.
yeah, I'll have to go through that.
Yeah.
I really like the way that they've portrayed him so far. We haven't really seen him in the show yet, just kind of in the sneak peeks. But
right.
That I'm excited for, to see how they do. But, kind of a meh for the first show.
Right, yeah. So I have sort of a rule going into pilots on episodes, and I don't know if I saw sort of a TV thing where they talk about pilots and the rest of shows, but anyway, to truly, I automatically give a show a second episode. If it's something that I wanted to watch right away, I automatically give it a second episode, just because. Pilots shot and then they're done, and then they sort of wait to get picked up. And then second episode is when they know they've been picked up and they're sort of on and they're sort of working for that extra thing. And so it's and then usually at that point you've been together long enough to where you're developing some sort of chemistry.
Sure. Yeah.
So the old adage, you never judge a book by its cover, I never judge a TV show by its first show.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, I've watched exactly one episode of Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and haven't given it a second chance.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I'm deep into that show.
Yeah.
That started off really slow, but they've done a great job.
Right. Yeah. So my first impression of Krypton here is that is this something that I want to watch? Absolutely. Yes. Is it something that I need to know about? About my love for Superman? Do I need to know about?
Right.
Do I need to know about Superman's grandfather? I don't know that I do.
It's not material to your love of Superman.
Right, and exactly, but I think that again that they're just sort of looking for, for these ideas, via Smallville and via Gotham,
right.
to where you explore sort of the making of, and I had an issue. I vehemently was against Smallville for the longest time, and it took me 4 years after the series ended to watch it.
And?
Just because I loved it.
Yeah, I knew you
right?
would.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't agree with Lex Luthor was never in Smallville, and when
it's Dawson's Creek with Superman.
Basically. Exactly. But then that's when I realized it's okay. No, we're getting interpretations of characters through the eyes of someone else, and the show's not going to go for 20 years, and I'm going to get Superman out of this, right? And so that's what. So that's initially what my theory on these shows is that hey, where are they going to take it? It could be fun, it could be exciting, could offer some little backstory into Superman. They're going to give us some little tidbits here. They already have, which is great. And so I mean I liked it. I'm gonna watch it again, of course. I'm gonna give it another. I'll probably watch through the whole. SyFy episodes or SyFy series are usually maybe 10 to 14 episodes or so.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, this is one I probably wouldn't have watched it on my own.
Sure.
But
that's why we're here.
That's why we're here. Yeah. I'll definitely give it another couple episodes and see where it goes and then make a decision, if I want to keep watching it or not. I mean, I got a list as long as my arm of shows that I need to watch and movies I need to watch. So, it's kind of like I start shows and I kind of decide, a few episodes in, should I continue or is there something that I'd rather watch?
Right. Yeah. Well, and it is sort of the on-demand culture that we're in right now,
sure.
and Netflix is sort of ruining us a little bit with, hey, we're going to release all of them at the same time, and binge and wait, binge and wait, and so but yeah, I did enjoy the Romeo and Juliet aspect of it because it has the potential to really pit those two houses against each other. Mm-hmm. For a lot of fate. So
why they hate each other.
Right. So, and so we, and that's, like I said, that in the end, so, knowing the end game of Krypton, the Doom Society. Yeah. But Kandor, spoiler alert, lives on in Brainiac Ship. Right. I am stoked to see Brainiac on screen. I am stoked to see him be the big bad. I love the design of the Skull Ship.
Yep. The Skull Ship looked amazing.
That's scary. Yeah. If you see that hovering over your town, you're running.
That's the pure definition of a dreadnought.
Right, exactly.
I'm very scared right now.
Yeah.
So, I've heard a couple different versions of your give it two kind of rule. There's one, I think it was Mark Bernardin on the Fat Man on Batman podcast was talking about he has a rule of 3. Mm-hmm. He gives it 3 episodes. And for exactly the same reasons you were talking about. Just, I guess, a little extra one on the back end. Some of the things I really liked about it, though, were some of the set pieces, like the grandfather's Fortress of Solitude was really well done. I thought that was cool. There was a lot of, am I in, the latest Tron movie? Am I in, there was little shades of Blade Runner kind of esque, with the colors
with the slums,
and the building shapes and things like that.
And the music.
One of the things that took me out of it was because I'm such a huge Ray Donovan fan. His mother in Krypton is the mom in Ray Donovan.
Right.
So that really took me out of it. But it's just because I'm a diehard Ray Donovan fan. But,
I kind of had a similar thing with Rupert Graves. He's Lestrade in Sherlock, and he plays the father.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, Lestrade, your hair is driving me nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, I'll definitely give it another shot. I think there's a lot of great TV on. It wouldn't have gotten picked up if there wasn't a long game or something that they really saw in it. So
yeah. So what do you think the end point of this series would be? Let's say over
of the series?
Yeah, of a 4 or 5 season arc. Like what? So, for example, Smallville is, Superman running off the building and ripping open his shirt, and you see Superman, right? Gotham, I assume, is going to be, Bruce Wayne.
I'm Batman.
Getting that cowl, right?
Balls dropping his voice.
Right, exactly, right. So, is the end point here, if, do we see the birth of Jor-El? Is that the end point? Because we sort of know Jor-El's story?
Yeah.
Or is the end point baby Superman getting shot off to space and Krypton blowing up?
Yeah, exactly. So this you have to have that happen in order for Superman to exist, right? Or maybe they do it in a different fashion where it's an alternate timeline or something. I mean, how do you preserve the origin story of Superman and kind of make your way through this Krypton series without...
Well, I think a lot depends on the success of the show and how long it's going to run.
Well, right.
So, the main character is Superman's grandfather.
Yeah.
So, we're going to have to go through his timeline and then Jor-El's timeline to get to Superman.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah, and so, let's say the show runs for 10 years, then you could probably do that. Mm-hmm. And actors sort of, there was a shift on Smallville, from Lana Lane to Lois, right? And that's, and then his work at the Daily Planet, so that's sort of where that shift went. And so I see, you could potentially, like, if actors get tired or actors want to move on, you can shift to Jor-El at that point.
I would think a logical endpoint would just be to end it the start of Jor-El.
Right, and I think that's ultimately where you end this, because if you're banking on,
like, he already coupled with what's her bucket, so.
Right, yeah,
that's Jor-El, right?
Yeah, well,
so.
no, that was Corvex. They showed,
Shit, that's right. So
right, yeah,
maybe the end point is when Jor-El gets created, or
right,
wherever he comes.
Maybe they do it the old-fashioned way.
Well, yeah.
Or maybe there's another scene where they have the blood on the thing, and his name will be Jor-El, and he will be a scientist.
Right, yeah.
Is he made thumbprint-wise, or made the old-fashioned way?
Brown chicken bread.
Right, yeah. So I think that's a good sort of starting off point for Krypton. Like I said, it just because I'm a Superman nut, I'm in. I will most likely watch the full series.
So something that, now that you say that, something that kind of sparks is, so the time traveler comes back in time and his mission is to prevent Superman from never happening. He's not there to save the planet.
Right.
So he just wants to make sure Superman
is created. Whatever. Yeah.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I don't think
you said that's a main character apparently.
So I wouldn't call him main.
Okay.
So Adam Strange has sort of the reverse Superman arc. He was born on Earth, but then travels to another planet and becomes a superhero. Okay. So and this is where sort of the jumping off point of the series sort of throws me for a loop is, yes, we get the Back to the Future picture in Superman's cape, which is slowly disintegrating because events have happened.
You're changing the timeline.
Right, you're changing the timeline. So now Brainiac, assuming came from the future to disrupt this timeline. Right. So. Yeah, so again, we are altering the timeline, via J.J. Abrams and Star Trek.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
That's exactly what's happening here. So we, you're telling a story that's never been told.
Sure.
In this vein, but then you're already changing the timeline to.
Such an easy cop out.
I know. Yeah, you're already changing the timeline in order to. But is this what happened?
Right.
Do they, is Brainiac's final spot on the show him getting sent Back to the Future.
1.21 gigabyte.
Earth
Right.
Angel.
So like, you know, I think they just threw a lot of balls up in the air just to see what's sort of gonna stick here. Yeah, and you know, and sort of play out the strongest storyline here and there. You know, my only worry is that it looks like an expensive show to produce.
Yeah.
And if it just doesn't get the numbers,
Yeah.
then it could die an early
That's
death.
pretty easy, yeah.
But you know, it is sci-fi. You know, we might get some, you know, we might get a decent life out of it. I think Defiance ended a little early to my liking. I loved that show. I thought that was a great show, but you know, that seemed pretty expensive to.
Yeah, they have a lot of expensive shows on the docket because The Expanse is coming back.
Yeah.
They have Night Flyers, which is going to be another space show that's
Sure.
coming out soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of space.
Right, but it didn't. Well, now Night Flyers didn't look like it had a lot of sort of CG to it, because they showed that big old set being built.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it is a lot of internal.
Right.
What did he say? It was Martin said it's a haunted house story on a ship.
Right. Yeah.
So
Event Horizon.
Yeah, there's a lot of internals as opposed to external shots.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right on. Cool.
So all right. What are your guys' expectations for a Superman series? Did you guys like the Krypton pilot? Is there enough here to warrant a 10 to 14 episode series here and there? And what do you guys think the end game is for this? Talk to us on our Facebook page at Rum and Regret Podcast. You can hit us up on Twitter too at Rum and Regret. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, I'm Andy Drake.
Johanna Myers.
Nate Tussey, and we drink and we know things. That was the